Philip Dunne to do with energy issues.
Prime Minister, this follows on very neatly from what you've just been saying. My interest is in the cost of living challenge arising from increasing energy prices. So for the last year or so, since economies started to emerge from the pandemic, all of our constituents have been seeing astonishing increases in their energy costs, exacerbated clearly by the impact of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. To what extent will the energy security strategy, which you're planning, will address the cost of living pressures?
I think you have to provide as much short-term relief as you can to people within the fiscal constraints that we have. The 9.1 billion that we're giving to help people with the cost of energy, the abating the council tax, and so on. The stuff, the extra cash we're giving to councils, by the way, Clive, under the Household Support Fund. All those things that we're doing to help people with the cost of living. But we've got to recognise that in the UK, we have just failed for a generation to put in enough long-term supply. And it's been one of those colossal mistakes. And renewables are fantastic. Offshore wind, I stress offshore wind, I think has massive potential. But so does nuclear. And this is the country that split the atom. The first ever civilian nuclear power station was at Calder Hall in Cumbria. I seem to remember from my Ladybird book on atomic power. Why aren't we doing it? Why have the French got 56 nuclear reactors and we've got barely 6? Whose fault was it? Labour Party, obviously, but I leave that on one side. It was, and the Lib Dems. Thank you, Mel. But we've got to fix it now, and I'm not going to pretend that you're going to get a nuclear reactor on stream in real time for our constituents in the next couple of years. No, we've got to do lots of other things, including transitional hydrocarbons. And basically helping with the cost of living wherever we can. But long term and medium term, we've got to be looking at big ticket nuclear solutions, Sizewell and other projects, but we've also got to be looking at small modular reactors. And Bill mentions the Qataris. The Qataris are just one of the countries that wants to work with us on SMRs. There's a huge list now of potential partners for Rolls-Royce to do that.
So your government is the first government in 30 years to make a decision on nuclear, and I applaud that. I think that's exactly the right thing to be doing. But as you say, it's going to take a decade to bring a major system on stream.
Well, yes.
How long do you think it'll take before a small modular reactor is contributing to the grid?
I saw a bit of paper last night saying that they think that before the end of the decade, but they will have to go quicker than that.
So 8 years or so.
No. I'm not going to. But if we don't start now, this will be we won't be fixing the problem. Yeah. But I'm optimistic that we can have a. We've shown that we can do things really fast. The booster rollout was unbelievably fast. We've done some things fast recently. I think we should have a look at.
So there may be scope for your future planning bill to look at the planning requirements for major infrastructure projects like nuclear small modular reactors on existing nuclear sites where they're likely to be welcomed rather than fought. Can I just take you back then to what you were just touching on, which is the transition? So as we move towards net zero Britain, we will require fossil fuels to continue to support the economy for another 3 decades. It's currently 3/4 of our energy demand in this country is met by fossil fuels.
Of our energy demand, not our electricity demand.
No,
our energy demand.
If you look at we heat homes, we use it for transport and so on. Our oil and gas reserves are currently depleting rapidly. What is the prospect for the energy security strategy that you're going to be unveiling, providing some further exploration opportunities for the continental UK shelf?
I think that we'll look at all those options. I think the hydrocarbon riches of the world, I mean, I'm sorry to say, are still vast, and that is it's a bad thing because we want to move away from hydrocarbons as fast as we can. But it's also in the short term a useful thing, and there's no doubt the United States disposes of colossal wealth in oil and gas, and so does the Gulf, so does Iran, by the way. And if we could get an agreement on the JCPOA, not to chuck another difficult subject in, then another source of supply might open up.
So does this suggest that you're moving away from the climate change ambitions that you were trumpeting at COP26 in Glasgow 6 months ago?
No, not at all. By the way, I think one of the most productive lines of research, and we must not close down the hydrogen route. Hydrogen could be a fantastic solution, particularly for heavy goods vehicles, for farm machinery, for diggers, for ships. Hydrogen really could be the answer. How do you get hydrogen? You get hydrogen out of hydrocarbons. So there's a long. If hydrogen is going to be part of the mix, and I think it is, then hydrocarbons are going to be part of the solution for the long term. And that doesn't mean if you combine use of hydrogen with carbon capture and storage, then you have a serious long-term prospect for the UK. And
so are you suggesting that we make hydrogen is derived from processing water, and the oil and gas element of it is to provide the energy to drive that process? Are you suggesting therefore that you're looking at purely a grey hydrogen rather than a green hydrogen production technique? I
think you should look at both sides, both green and blue hydrogen, and I think you should also. I mean, if you think about people are anxious at the moment about the putting in ground source or air source heat pumps to heat their homes, and everybody's worried about having to replace their boilers at vast expense. Well, I think for some people that will be the right solution. I think the price of those things will come down very fast as more are made, but you've also got to look at the possibility of going back to where we were actually in the 60s and 70s, when town gas contained a lot of hydrogen, and you could put a lot more hydrogen into the pipes.
And is that something that you persuaded? Just one more question, if I may.
Well, I think we're getting very close to time.
Okay, final question.
But the net zero, the ambition to keep going on the path towards a net zero, no, that has not been adulterated or lost at all.
So you would welcome our committee doing an investigation into the potential for oil and gas exploration while maintaining the ambition of net zero?
I think that'd be a very useful thing, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.